the level which is getting there from the players. I think Andreescu is yeah, and it's also because she won, but I felt like she is more ready to getting back where she actually belongs. Also because she has I have to say also a bit more experience than Emma, but I feel like finally Raducanu is now ready to getting that experience she needs to perform well in big stages and big occasions now. Playing such matches like the one she played against Swiatek, even if the match didn't go well, and this match, of course, it's very important. Also, it was pretty close because straight away in the first game of the third set, Emma was love 40 on Andreescu's serve, and yeah, there were some moments in which the match could have gone her way, and I think she can be happy because she's finally able to compete at a good level and to play some nice matches, which it wasn't the case in the last season because of injuries and a lot of other probably issues. So yeah, I think that we can say thumbs up for both players in the end of the day. I think yes.
What did Emma do wrong, do you think? Were there a few too many unforced errors? Did she pull the trigger a bit too early? I mean, it was a competitive match, 6-3, 6-6-2, of course. But it sounds like a really fun, exciting match, and hopefully they play again each other soon.
Yeah, sometimes I think that Raducanu sometimes has these issues that she tries um, to do probably too much with anticipation and all this stuff that she can do really well. She has this kind of weapon, but sometimes when the rhythm is very high and the opponent is really good, she tries to do a bit too much. I mean, we can't say that it's totally wrong because probably if you don't try uh, to do so much, you can have some other troubles. But I feel like she's going to understand also how to approach these kind of matches. And yeah, but also really Bibi. um, no, yeah, of course. I I always say that you can't win a slam for no reason. There's always a reason for which some things happen. I feel like even Andreescu said that she can feel like Raducanu is gaining again a bit of the level uh, to being back where I think that her talent is clear. She needs to adjust some things probably physically, but in terms of yeah, in terms of also how to handle some part of the matches and to do better in like when you have to understand when to do more and when to do less to kind of arrive in at your best shape in some moments of the match. But of course, I think that we shouldn't forget that these are two millennials. also Andreescu, which sometimes can sound a bit crazy, because we saw her at very high level since like 2019, but they're two very very young players, and I think it can also be a quite good rivalry. I look forward to see if this season can be a nice one for both of them. I hope so, because it's kind of funny game when they played each other. So I'm here for it.
Absolutely, yes. I'm looking forward to it. I hope they end up playing each other again soon. And I also hope that this is the beginning, as you suggested, of perhaps a rivalry. Let's have a look at some of the other results from today. On the women's side, what anything stood out for you? I can see that obviously we've got Georgie against Azarenka, but is that later on today, I think. That'll be an interesting one. And Raducanu against Kalinskaya as well. I think that's on in the early hours of the morning. Well, I might be looking at tomorrow's schedule, actually. But any other scores from today that stood out for you on the women's side?
I'm actually checking because
Yeah,
Mukova is playing some very good tennis lately. And she lost kind of 10 games in 3 matches between
in
qualifying and the
qualifying,
first
yeah.
round, but
Mhm.
also she pushed Rybakina to the very limit in that quarterfinal in Indian Wells, and who knows what could have happened if that match would have gone the other way. But first of all, it's not so important. The most important thing is that finally, probably, because I don't know with Mukova what to say about her physical state, which is always a bit concerning, even when she's playing so well. But her tennis is funny to watch. She has all the qualities to be a superstar of the game, in my opinion, because she has also that kind of tennis that can be very entertaining to watch, regardless of the ranking and of the stage of the tournament. And it's just funny watching Mukova playing. So, of course, she's been so unlucky so far in her career, but also got some very nice results, and probably can do even better. Who knows?
So right now we've got Fognini against Struff in action, but some of the results earlier, including a straight sets win for Andreeva and Chastea. But also I can see Ghosty mentioning Leylah Fernandez. That's a really nice win for her. There are 4 or 5 players on the women's tour who have had incredible runs at a slam, particularly in New York, and you'll see who I mean in a minute. Either winning the tournament or getting to the final. And they have just sort of fallen off the cliff, not the radar, because I think we're all aware of Leylah Fernandez, Bianca Andreescu, Emma Raducanu, and Sofia Kenin, because I'm including Grand Slam winners here, not just in New York, who have all had difficult sort of in English, we call it second album syndrome. It's where you have a rock band who have an amazing first album and then they can't seem to be able to repeat it.
Yeah,
And
I got it.
yeah, and Sofia Kenin seems to be a bit like that regarding her 2020. And yet this year, and she's won today, including a 6-love first set against Hunter, she is showing signs of returning. Whether we'll ever see her return to that level she was at 3 years ago, I don't know. But at least returning to the latter stages of tournaments. She was very unlucky in Australia to get Azarenka, I think it was in the first round.
Yeah.
She had a pretty rough draw, I think, in Indian Wells. I forget who she went out to in the second round there, but it was Rybakina.
Rybakina, 7-6, 7-6.
Exactly. 2 super tight sets, and that could have gone either way. And we all know how good Rybakina is right now. So hopefully she gets a few wins under her belt in Miami, and we can see her have a decent, season on the clay as well. And she'd be a welcome return to
She's
the
been a
upper echelon.
finalist on clay
Exactly,
in
French
Roland
Open.
Garros.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So there's no reason why she can't have a decent play season. Fernandez, of course, I think she was in the quarterfinals at Roland Garros last year as well, so maybe a half decent play season from her too. Emma and Bianca's a bit different on clay, though, right? They don't have so much success.
yeah, I think that Andreescu is probably the biggest one in this pitch, because that US Open win in 2019 was like a peak of a great year, because she won in Canada, she won Indian Wells 2019, so she had a pretty amazing year, and so the US Open was like. Yeah, I don't know if you say like we say in Italy, but it's like the cherry on the cake.
Yeah, icing on the cake, cherry on the
Yeah,
cake. These things
yeah,
work.
Yeah, on quite a perfect year, and then yeah, there have been some kind of issues, and uh, which are a bit similar to all of these players, even if it's not similar in another way. Oh.
How do you feel about this, Mario? Are we a bit? It feels like we're on the sofa again.
Yeah.
With
You're
ball
right.
again. Yeah.
That's so fair. Listen, I'm glad Damien has managed to join us because, of course, Poland has gone into days, weeks, and maybe even months of mourning after Iga Swiatek's withdrawal. Did that come as a surprise to you, Damien?
I mean, there's been a lot of info about this in the Polish media saying that she will probably withdraw. So yeah, I guess it sort of means also that, yeah, when we look back at the loss that she had to Rybakina, of course, not at the fact that she lost to Rybakina, but just at the fact that she lost to Rybakina, winning just 4 games. Yeah, like when we look at this, when you look back at this, I guess that also means that there was something seriously wrong, which I guess we sort of knew, but I think there are a lot of people doubting that. Yeah, it certainly puts a lot of pressure on Świątek in regards to the ranking, right? Like in the next few months, we just thought that Świątek was gonna defend the number one ranking anyway. And yeah, seeing this right now, we're not so sure. Like if she doesn't defend Roland Garros, she's probably gonna lose the number one ranking at some point this year, which is fine, of course. Like if you think about it, it's not like she was gonna keep it for 400 weeks, but I think some people definitely thought that she was gonna keep the number one ranking for like 7 years or something. So if she doesn't defend Roland Garros, she's gonna lose the number one ranking, and yeah, not being able to defend Miami just helps that. So yeah, personally, I don't see that big of an issue. Like if Sabalenka takes over or someone like that, uh, I guess we also mentioned like a few days ago on the stream that if we're just talking about 2023, Świątek has not been the best player of the year. So I guess it's fair, but yeah, not being able to defend her Miami title definitely puts a bit of a dent in her ranking.
Yes, it does. I think for certain players, that have achieved so much, whether that at the end of their career or the beginning, I'm not sure that they need to worry too much about the ranking. I saw a lot of people reacting to the points that she may lose here, but it's because she was marvelous last year, and I think she'll be marvelous again. It's just about winning tennis matches, and if you do that, you'll be fine. The only concern, Mario, I would suggest, though, for Iga is there's no timeline on this absence. Not yet, anyway. We've seen Rafa have similar injuries, and he very quickly tweets, I'll be back in 4 to 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, this kind of thing. Iga has said that she won't play Miami. She won't play the Billie Jean King Cup, but she doesn't know when she'll be back. I imagine it'll be fairly early on in the clay court season, maybe even as early as sort of middle of April. So we're looking at maybe 3 or 4 weeks. But at the moment, she's not put a timeline on it. What's your reaction, Mario, to the news about Iga?
To be honest, Yeah, I have heard about that. Looking at some Polish news and something like that. So when I got the tweet, I was like, okay, I knew it. Uh, mm, but yeah, of course, I think that. mm I mean, the ranking, in my opinion, it's not that of a big deal, even because we saw that at least she's still able, issues or not, to have some good good results like semifinals and final in Dubai and all these things. So I don't think that, even if she doesn't play at her very best level, I think that she has no issues to stay in the top 3 4 in the rankings. In fact, as for now, she's still number 3 in the race. Of course, we have to understand how much time she is going to stay out. But in the press conference she had today, she said that as for what she knows now, she thinks that, she stopped in time
Okay.
to be back in just not so much time. But of course, it's always difficult to predict before, because you have also to be careful. I think especially when you are so young, because we spoke about players like, for example, Andreescu, players whose physical issues uh, uh, impact have had a great impact of his recent years. And so I think that, especially when you are so young, you have to be a bit careful, even because you have so much time to be back uh, and to play at your best level. Of course, I also think that clay is a big goal for Swiatek, because uh, probably, at least we can think that probably the surface can give her a bit of more an advantage, compared to the two her best rivals so far this year. uh, but I still think that there's a lot of time from now to the very big clay tournament, which are, of course, Madrid, Rome, and Paris. I think that even if she decides to skip Stuttgart, it's not a big deal, and she will probably do that if she doesn't feel so ready to play, without putting a risk to her health. So, mm, yeah, I think it's pretty simple. She has these physical issues, and she has to take her time before coming back, and that's it. I For now, I won't be so mad at this, because it can happen to everyone, and hopefully it's not going to be a very big issue.
Damien, let's move on from Iga. We've also done Bianca and Emma as well, and we did a bit of Sofia Kenin. Let's talk about some of the men's. I've just finished watching Murray go out, and I think there was a tweet that amused me from Scott Barkley, where he was like saying that there's been a lot of positives from some of Murray's defeats this year. But this is not one of them. He said he called it an apocalyptic event, which I'm going to share with you in a second. I love how the Muzzer fan are generally speaking fairly positive following his losses of late, but that particular one, as in today, the one he lost in straight sets, I think we can all agree was apocalyptically shite. It was to lose today. I've got the wrong thing on the moment. I'll share it in a second. To lose today, do you think Damien for Murray should he be very disappointed with that one?
I mean, I've spoken a few times here about like the fact that Murray has been winning his matches this year in a way that is basically not sustainable, which I guess I should treat this Murray Lajovic loss as a win for me then, because I mean that's the opinion that I've sort of had, that this is unsustainable. Like, he cannot be winning 7 out of 8 matches in deciding sets. He cannot be winning 3 out of 8 matches after saving match points. Still, I did not think he was going to lose to Lajovic. I did not watch the match. I mean, honestly, I've just came back from yeah, just a night out, I guess, with friends, and yeah, I saw that there were that you guys were organizing something, and I figured why not join. So I did not watch Mare Lajovic, but yeah, this is one where I certainly thought that he was gonna come through. Like, this is a match that I figured, he's not gonna win in a deciding set, saving match points. I figured that this was going to be a one. This was going to be one where he actually pulls through in straights, like fairly comfortably or something like that. So yeah, I guess I have to agree with the fact that if we're looking at some of the losses of Murray this year as a positive sign, this one is not it. For sure not. I mean, Lajovic in the past, I don't know, 2 years or something like that, on hard courts, he generally has not looked like a main tour player. So yeah, to lose that one, especially in straight sets, I think is pretty crushing for Murray for sure.
Yeah. By the way, Lajovic was serving for it, and Murray broke at 5-4 in the second set. And I had to change the headline for this particular podcast. It's one of the reasons why I think I got a bit flustered, and I actually posted it for tomorrow. So many people tuning in or not tuning in, and will be tuning in at this time tomorrow, expecting to hear a show about Andy Murray. But no, I just put the wrong date, so I apologize for that. But yeah, I kept changing it because I had Murray out, then I had Murray drama, then I had Murray out again in the title, and I kept waiting to see what would happen.
That's how it usually is with Andy Murray right now, right? I mean, you can't really know. You cannot put a headline before his match is done. I mean, the guy has saved 3 match points 3 times this year already and won the match. So I think the journalists or whatever who just wanted to write an article after his match, they've already been definitely there's definitely been people this year who have already been who've already struggled with Andy Murray matches in terms of getting headlines and etc. For sure.
I saw the latter stages of the match as I saw it was getting very interesting, let's say. And I will say that the final game of the match maybe summed up Andy's day, and maybe Lajovic's too. There was an incredible forehand passing shot from Lajovic, I think at 30 love. Damien, though, I'm sure you'll be critical of, I think it was a volley from Andy at the net that gave Lajovic the chance to pass. But there was also a shank mishit shot that on match point from Andy Murray, which I think probably summed up his performance of the day. Mario, what are your thoughts on Andy Murray and maybe even Lajovic?
Well, of course, Lajovic still played a good match. And it's also quite. I don't want to be harsh, but it's also quite a news for how he's playing lately. But I think that, of course, I'm not talking about Murray, but focusing on Lajovic, the performance has been quite good from him, and it's still a good sign. And as for Murray, he of course didn't play a good match, and I also, I don't know if I'm wrong, but I also thought like he was a bit complaining about conditions. I mean, every player has to complain about conditions when he's losing, but I don't think he was so happy about a lot of things, and he hasn't been really able to adjust his game to the situation, and which is a bit strange. Yeah, the level was not quite there, and I think that's it to say, because tactically, yeah, there's not much to say tactically. Um, it's just a matter that his level wasn't there, like it has been, I think, in these past weeks. Even if he wins like in at the deciding set and in that way, but I felt like this has been his worst match of the season, probably. um but still not easy from the opponent to take advantage of this. And so credit to Lajovic, because yeah, he's got broken when he was serving the first time for the match, but um, it has been still a good performance for him. And who knows, he can do well now against Cressy. In my
Yeah.
opinion, it's not impossible, given the fact that, in my opinion, Cressy it's not the most predictable player in terms of the level he will bring out on court. So mm, it's not so like one-sided, in my opinion, if Cressy doesn't show up his very best level.
Okay. Let's pose a question now for Damien. I know he's had a
Uh-huh.
night out for his friends, but with his friends. But no, let's throw the ball over in your direction.
Yeah.
I see Wu, by the way, has beaten Carl Edmund. I don't think that's a real surprise in terms of Edmund coming back after such a long period of time out of
It's
the
been a
game.
bad match, honestly.
Was it really, Mario?
Yeah, in my opinion, yes. None of them played a good match, and also who could have ended that one before he did. Mm, mm, for me, the 11 wasn't there, and I've been a bit surprised, honestly, because I was expecting a bit more, but it can happen. We aren't at our best level every day of our life, so it's okay. I'm kind with the players. I'm not judging them for one bad matches, even, because the most important thing is to win.
Damien, are there any players in Miami,
Uh-huh.
let's call them dark horses, people outside probably the top 15 anyway, on the men's side, who you are expecting to do well? Maybe the conditions, maybe they're running into some good form. I don't know why I've got Borna Choric on my radar again. I know he's kind of disappeared since Cincinnati, but I've got him probably going a bit further than you normally would. I don't know if there's a player out there of that sort of ilk, 20, 30, 40 in the world, who you can see doing well in Miami.
Yeah, I guess I kind of have a look at the draw right now, but you started this from Ivinko, and I think it's a very fine selection. I mean, the guy is gonna play Diego Schwartzman in round two. So
Yeah.
given that the Argentine is just not in great form at the moment, he definitely has a chance there. And
Yeah.
Brunei also struggled physically both in Acapulco and Indian Wells. So yeah, there's just every chance in my mind for Ivinko to advance to the fourth round or something like that. Definitely. I did not watch the match against Kyle Edmund just now, so I believe even if his level wasn't the greatest at in this one, I think he's still gonna have a pretty good time playing the next couple of opponents rather than what he had to do in Indian Wells, where both against Munar and Davidovich Fukina, you could just kind of see that these aren't the right conditions for him. Honestly, I'm thinking that maybe Alexei Popyrin can go far.
Okay.
He's just defeated Mikael Immer today, of course, via retirement, but
Yeah, he had a
also
bad
beat,
injury. I don't know how bad, but it seemed like I mean, look at the scoreline. You can see that you don't retire at 7-6-4-4 unless it's really
yeah,
serious. I think it
yeah,
was a
but
pretty much a boom.
he's just defeated Emer as well in Phoenix last week,
Okay.
6-2, 6-2 actually. And he's gonna play Van de Zandhulp, who's also not in his best shape since the beginning of the year. And as we all know, Kasper Ruud is kind of vulnerable at the moment. So I'm thinking there might be some chances for the upset there. Otherwise, yeah, we'll see how Ben Shelton plays. You know, if he gets to like face Adrian Manarino, let's say in the second round, this is always a tough matchup for good juniors. Borna Choric, you said. Yeah, after he just went out so comfortably to Alex Morton in Indian Wells, I've been a little disillusioned with Choric. I gotta say that since Cincinnati, he's just not he just hasn't done that much. And yeah, I'm not sure if I have him beating like someone like Nori and then potentially Hurkacz Shelton. Beating both players like that just kind of seems like much. Otherwise, like if I'm looking at the draw, I'm doing it right now, and
Yeah, I mean, listen, you wouldn't normally have Chorich as like 6 months ago. You couldn't call Chorich a dark horse after his run in Cincinnati, but it's been a long time since then.
You know who I can call a dark horse?
Go on.
Let's say Iga Swiatek. I know
Yes.
since the since the time he blew match points against Andy Murray, of course these 5 at Doha, he's only won 1 match, but he's also played Zverev, Rublev, and Kokinakis. So a very tough set of opponents. And here, I mean, the guy plays Federico Coria in the opening round on hard courts, which is just like an auto win. Then he can play Lorenzo Musetti, who other than the 4 or 5 matches at the United Cup, where he, of course, was the second highest ranked player for Italy. So he played a slightly easier set of opponents. Come again?
I think it's a Tsitsipas section.
Yeah, like it of course it depends on what Tsitsipas is gonna bring to the table, but yeah, I mean he had some issues, of course, in Indian Wells with his shoulder. In some parts of the match against Thompson, he couldn't even drive through his backhand. We'll see if that's gonna persist. But even if it doesn't, right? I mean, they played in the Australian Open quarterfinals, where it seemed like Tsitsipas was, Tsitsipas and Hečka. And Tsitsipas, it seemed like was in just much better shape in the Australian Open quarters compared to right now. And yeah, I think there's probably a chance for Lehečka to advance here, but he would need to beat Kachanov to do that. And I don't know if that's easy. He's probably like a 50-50. Yeah, he's probably 50-50-ish against Kachanov for me right now. But of course, he needs to beat Coria and Musetti first. But yeah, with the sort of tennis that he's been playing this year, I think Coria and Musetti in the first 2 rounds maybe isn't an auto win for him, but it's still very, very close. Like you have to consider this an extremely good draw for the young Czech. And yeah, if I'm just looking at the whole draw, I think Lehečka is probably the one who I think like out of the unseeded players that could go very, very far. Provided, of course, Tsitsipas is not like at its very, very best.
Yeah, how many games is it that Mukova has lost? Did you say, Mario?
2 today, and I think 4, 6 should be 9 if I'm not wrong.
In 4 matches, right?
3.
3 matches, 2 qualifiers, and then the first round.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think she lost. She won 6-1, 6-1 in one of the qualifying matches, right? And the other is 6-1, 6-3.
So it's I think so. 8 games.
8 games.
I think it's 8 games in 3 matches. Yes.
And Teichmann's not bad. So that is a standout result, I would say, from today. Mario, I'm just having a quick look at some of these other results. Was there any other tennis you saw today, Mario?
Well, I watched a bit here and there.
Yeah. Husler won in 3 sets. Okay.
But yeah, I think it's been a pretty some nice matches, and I think Wolf played a nice match.
Yeah, I've got him doing quite well.
He's a player who can, in my opinion, he can always do well, even if sometimes He can, mm, he disappoint just a little bit, but I think he has all the tennis stuff to do well in. I think I think quite everywhere. Of course, it depends a little bit on on the courts and all this stuff, on the draws. But I think that he has all the potential uh, to grow a little bit higher than rather than he's where he is today. Um, I mean, he's that kind of player that I find him very, very talented, and I like his game, and I think he can do even better than he's doing right now. I think I don't know what I have to think a little bit to tell you what he really needs. I would have to study him a little more, but I think I saw in him quite something.
Okay, cool. Mario, we're going to say goodbye to you so you can head off to bed. What's the verb to sleep in Italian? Dormi, dormire.
Dormire.
Dormire. Okay, so I think it's the time for dormire, Mario, because it's what time is it? Past midnight now. So head off and enjoy your well-earned rest, and we'll be speaking to you soon.
Thank you for
Take care,
having me.
Mario. Thank you. So, Damien and I will just see us through the latter stages of this particular episode. On my screen right now, I have Fognini against Struff. The unsurprising German production team has chosen that match. Struff, by the way, sort of falls into a similar category to me of Fucsovics, in that when they play challengers, there's probably a little bit that's kind of they're kind of the favorite, are they not? Probably when they're going into a challenger tournament, Damien. And yet when they get to the bigger tournaments, you're probably expecting them to go out in round 2, round 3.
Yeah, it is somewhat true. I mean, still compared to what Jan Struff was doing in the latter half of 2022, or just after the injury that he had in 2022, I think this year has been a big improvement, definitely. But yeah, I definitely get that. Fucsovics has in the past couple of months, let's say dating back to like November or October, has definitely won a few. He's won a couple of challengers. He's looked sublime at this level, and then he even struggled against guys like Federico Coria on hard courts at the Australian Open. And I guess the same kind of goes with Jan Struff. He hasn't, maybe other than that loss in Vilnius to Egor Gerasimov, he hasn't really had an embarrassing loss, sort of. But yeah, especially the 2 times that he's played Tommy Paul, I think what you just said has really been the case. Still, a fantastic year for Struff, and it's clear that he's gonna get back inside the top 100. Like he's very close to it right now, and up until like maybe June or something like that, I don't think he's defending much. So it's pretty clear that he's gonna be back up there. But I think you're kind of right in the fact that Struff has made it through a couple of qualifying draws where he just looked like he was just unstoppable in them. Even this year, Australia, Jesus. Sorry, I thought I stopped the stream because I just closed the tab, but fortunately it wasn't this one. But yeah, as you said, Australia, where he was barely dropping games in the qualifying draw, and then he ran into Tommy Paul, who just crushed him, and it's been happening for Struff quite a lot this year. Still, I know he's down right now, but down a break in the opening set to Fognini, but I would still expect him to win this. And I still think that he's probably one of the most dangerous qualifiers, if not the most dangerous qualifier.
There was a point just now in this Fognini Struff, by the way, match that fell into the perfect category of, was it horrible, easy attacking shots that Struff should have been putting away? or was it unbelievable defense from Fognini? And words I wouldn't normally use with Fognini. There was grit, determination, and effort in chasing balls down. But there was one particular shot that Struff had where he had a gaping 50% of the court to hit the ball into. And somehow he decided to choose the racket of Fognini. And as a result, Fognini's broken. So as you say, Fognini is up already in this first set. But
Mario would be very angry with you right now with the pronunciation of Fognini. Right?
Oh, yeah, Fognini. Yeah, I need to keep practicing. But listen, let's get to some Hungarian pronunciation. Fucsovics is somebody that kind of fascinates me. I remember his match with Federer, I think, in 2020 at the Australian Open. I don't know if that went 4 or 5 sets, but I certainly vaguely remember it being 4 sets. Yeah,
he won the first set, I think, and then lost the next 3.
I remember that being competitive. We all know, of course, Federer's travails at that point in terms of his career. But I've seen some good stuff from him even this year. But of course, maybe tinged with a bit of disappointment. 2 sets up on Jannik Sinner. Will we just get a tournament with Fucsovics where things just sort of fall right, and there he is in the Grand Slam semi-final? And if that does happen, which of the 4 slams do you think it's most likely to be at?
Oh Jesus, that's a pretty tough one. I think he's had a quarterfinal at Wimbledon, right? And I guess with Martin Fucsovics, you just kind of should be able to make a point that the guy basically can play everywhere. Probably clay, I would say, is worst. So if he can make another big run at the slam, I think it's gonna be one of the 3 but Roland Garros, one of the 4 but Roland Garros, I suppose. It's kind of hard, and as you, I think you sort of hinted at this, but the guy very often pushes the elite, but he can also struggle against almost anyone, which is a bit of a weird thing, I guess, as a player. But when he needed to at the end of last year, when he needed to make a couple of big results in order to stay in the top 100, in order to get an Australian Open main draw spot, he was able to do that. Like, he was just unplayable in some of the challenges that he played. I was quite fortunate to watch him live in Bratislava when he was just especially Yannick Hanfmann, for example, in the second round. He just absolutely crushed him, and you could see just how special Fucsovics is as well, which usually you probably don't see, given the fact that with the sort of play style that he has, it's often not easy to see how he separates himself from, let's say, the players who are ranked 110 or 100. But in that very run, you could definitely see that just how special of a ball striker he is. And I'm very glad that he got back to this level. As you said, he was 2 sets up on Jannik Sinner, just couldn't retake it, which in a way has been the story of his career. But is he getting to a Grand Slam semifinal? I don't think so. If he was gonna get that, regarding your question, probably not at Roland Garros, but otherwise, I think it's pretty close. Probably like the Australian Open or Wimbledon are his best chances.
Oh, it looks like Gael Monfils, by the way, is having some treatment on his hand. What was the injury that's been putting him out for the last 6 months? I don't think it was his hand, was it?
Jesus. I wish I could tell you. I mean, I would have to.
It looks like a wrist issue, which
leg. This article that I pulled up says, like injuring his foot at the Canadian Open.
It's unfortunate because he's a break up against Humbert in the first set, and I did go for Monfils actually crashing out in the first round again, like he did in Indian Wells. But he's a break up, but he is taking a period on the sidelines right now to get some medical treatment. So fingers crossed that isn't that would be unfortunate. What do you think of regarding Monfils? This was a comment about a year ago from a former French Open winner, Frenchman, early 80s. Name escapes me right now, but I'll have to think of it, or someone in the live chat can remind me.
French Open winner in the 80s?
From France.
Yannick Noah. He's the only.
Yannick Noah. Thank you, Yannick Noah. So Yannick Noah said it must have been about a year ago because it was on the eve of the clay court season. He was asked, what Monfils needs to do to finally get over the hurdle of winning a Grand Slam. And he said I know. Listen, this is also after a pretty good Australian Open, by the way. It's probably just after the Australian Open, but before the clay court season. So it would have been about a year ago. And it was also put to him like that. So he's got to give an answer of some sort. He can't just say he's not winning a slam. You're not also probably going to be quite that brave because you never know. And then you can, and probably they may be even friends. So he did say this, which I thought was interesting because it probably told you some things about Monfils over the last 20 years rather than anything right now. He said he's got to go all in. He's got to just go every single minute of his day between, say, March and June. If the French Open was, for example, the target, every single thing that he does in that 3 months has got to be about winning the French Open, whether that be what he has for breakfast, how early he goes to bed, or how often he trains. And I wonder if that was a bit of a subtle dig as well at maybe Monfils' attitude to some extent.
Tough one. I mean, the right time for this conversation was probably like 5-6 years ago, right?
Yeah,
like I don't think it was really a serious idea in 2022. If Gael Monfils had a chance to win a slam, which I think he did. I mean, there's been a few moments when he was in the semifinals, and you could kind of think, yeah, if he gets through the semis, then he's in the final, and it's just one match. He's gonna be very close to winning one. I think maybe especially the 2016 US Open. I think a lot of people thought he might get through Djokovic there, and yeah, then he plays Wawrinka in the final, which would not be unwinnable, definitely not. But yeah, I just think that the right time for this conversation would be a long while ago. And yeah, if there were some chances, they are probably long gone by now. I'm kind of pessimistic actually, given the fact how he looked in Indian Wells and also Phoenix just now. He also said that he is like one injury away from retirement.
Yeah.
And, that's how he looks on the court as well. So yeah, I'm really pessimistic.
There are some Tsonga vibes. I think that he would dearly love to hang on for the Paris Olympics if possible, which is about 17, 18 months away. I know he said that having a kid as well has affected him in terms of maybe not having so much motivation to play, etc. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. And fingers crossed, though, that this injury isn't the one, this particular wrist injury that he was just getting treatment for. Struff was broken back, by the way. So your prediction that he will go through today looks to be back on course. Any other things that I wanted to speak about? There was one thing, actually, that I want to share with the viewers. By the way, viewers, make sure you hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. Very bizarre thing on my Twitter timeline. John Bon Jovi saying, let me show this. Let me see if you guys can see this.
Yeah,
John
I
Bon
saw
Jovi,
a clip today.
Did you? Yeah. But it's kind of, I think the interesting thing is the people that he's tagged. So he said, getting ready for a different kind of tour. And he's tagged Cam Norrie, Carlos Alcaraz, Francis Tiafoe, Daniel Medvedev. But then he's decided to add to the tag Rafa Nadal, who hasn't picked up a racket or certainly competitively since January, Roger Federer, who retired almost a year ago, and Serena Williams likewise. So it's just interesting who he's tagged there, thinking, I might get a response from one of these three.
The only guy that really needed to be tagged was Norrie, right? Because that's who he played.
Yeah, exactly. He hit the ball with Norrie, so that's fine. But for some reason, he's got carried away. Maybe a bit like me when I'm trying to get some retweets as well. I don't think John Bon Jovi needs that level of fame, but there we go. Maybe he just would love to get a reaction. But we will see. That's an unusual thing. But yeah, he had a hit with Cam Norrie, it seems. I don't know if that's going to help Cam in terms of Miami.
It's going to help John Bon Jovi in terms of whatever.
Now, that would be a wild card. Yeah, I think he'd have to be living on a prayer to go far. There we go. Pun.
I don't think he's going far. Like, always. I don't consider.
Yeah, now you're trying to copy. That was a real struggle, that one. Listen, are there any other men's
It's
players?
not going to be bed of roses for him, let's say that.
Oh, there we go. That's better. That works a lot better. Are there any other men's players in Miami that you think should be. Oh, who have you got winning, by the way?
I've actually had a live stream on YouTube for a Polish channel about the Miami draw, and it's not like a like a requirement that I'm gonna pick a winner there, but I always try to like just give one name, and I went for something that is really far from what I would usually be talking about, but honestly, Yannick Sinner just has a great draw, and
Okay.
I think if he's gonna make it, if he's gonna get over that sort of semi-final, quarterfinal hurdle that he has been struggling with the past couple of years,
Yeah.
I think it could be here.
That's an
And
interesting.
yeah, given the fact that all the other main favorites either have a tough draw or just could be pretty tired coming off Indian Wells, I think Sinner has a very fair chance. Yeah, I just like his draw a lot.
That's a really good and interesting shout. I think you're right. I have him getting to the semi-finals, but I think going out to Alcaraz. But of course, he has been a Miami finalist before,
Yeah.
losing to Hurkacz. I think that would have been a bit disappointing for him, that particular loss. I think I had him as the favorite, maybe rightly or wrongly, going into that final. I thought Sinner would do it, but that was probably the peak of his career. I mean, he's not won a Masters or a Grand Slam. He's not been in a final of a Grand Slam. He's not been in a semi-final of a Grand Slam, I don't think either. So that final in
Yeah,
Miami is the
actually
hype.
just checked it, and yeah, Sinner was like a pretty sizable favorite coming into that
For me, he
final.
was anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Struffers won that first set, so there we go. All right, listen, I think that's a really good shout. I've gone for Alcaraz, which is a bit more of a boring prediction, but less so than it was for Indian Wells. Funny enough, in terms of, I think people were not backing Alcaraz there. I did, went all the way. Funny enough, I'm doing so with less conviction here. I was pretty sure in Indian Wells he would win the title for various different reasons, which I've already highlighted before. But this time, I think Miami Sunshine Double just kind of works for me, and I've got him beating Medvedev in the final.
Fair. Is Sinner in the top half? I think he's
He's with the
in
same half as Alcaraz, so there would be a semi-final. But I think I've got him getting to the semis, so I do think you're right. I think his draw is not bad until the semis.
I haven't done like the full bracket, but just looking at it yesterday, I just figured that Sinner has a very good draw, and if he's gonna get over that hurdle sometime, then it might as well be here. But yeah, I also don't really feel confident in that, and I remember saying before Indian Wells that yeah, there was just a lot of players who could potentially win the title, and maybe you would even get a first-time winner, which we are pretty close to. Sinner and TFO are obviously in the finals, in the semifinals. So yeah, something like that again would not surprise me if by the time we reach the semis, we have like half the players in the semis are going to be without the Masters 1000 title or something like that. Certainly in the bottom half, there's kind of you mentioned you picked Medvedev, but I think in general there's a bit of a lack of others, strong contenders besides that. And Medvedev, like, my only concern is the fact that he has played a lot of tennis since the middle of February. So mentally and physically, that must be kind of tiring.
But this will be his one last push for Medvedev before he can chill out on the clay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you've got interestingly Sinner and Lehecka in for two different reasons as your players to look out for. One as a potential win and one as a dark horse. I have Alcaraz and my dark horse with Borna Coric. Let's see how that pans out. Damien, thank you very much for joining me today. I'm sure we'll be back again in a few days to do something similar. But yeah, thanks very much for coming along. And everyone else in the tennis world, make sure you hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel if you are new. Also, there's the option to join the channel as well, so you can get some exclusive perks, such as Damien and I talking about Jarry, Nicholas Jarry from a couple of weeks ago, and I'm sure we'll have a few more episodes like that to come. So yeah, thanks very much, everybody, and I will play you out with this little 10-second reminder. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.